Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Sierra and I am so glad that you could join us today. So if you saw my last video that I uploaded this past Saturday, you would know that I am currently engaged to my wonderful fiance. His name's Zach. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's honestly probably my favorite video that I've ever filmed. It was so much fun and there's a little extra something at the end. So yeah, I will link that one in the description down below. But in today's video, we are going to be going over my past dating experiences, the mistakes made, because trust me, there were a lot. Maybe there's something you can take from this so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Because I was young and very dumb, and looking back, I would not have made the same decision twice. So, we are going to go ahead and begin this video, and we are going all the way back to when I was in 8th grade. If you want to talk about relationships that leave an impact, low-key traumatizing, this one definitely changed my outlook on life, how I viewed things, how I responded. It changed everything about my situation and my circumstances. So this is something I haven't talked about on this channel yet, but I have struggled with my mental health, specifically depression, since about 7th grade. And during 8th grade, it was really bad for me. And this guy knew that. He kind of took advantage of that. There was definitely some encouraging to do harmful behaviors to myself from his end. And this night, forever scarred in my memory, I was texting him and my parents decided to take my phone and go through our messages, and to say that they were disturbed with what they saw would be the understatement of the century. In fact, they ended up pulling me from the school entirely. I was homeschooled for the rest of the year. I wasn't allowed to go online, have any of my electronics. I was just completely shut off from everyone. And being shut off from everyone definitely didn't help my mental state, but being away from this guy would be so helpful for me in the future. I couldn't see it then. I was definitely in puppy love. It was not real love at all. It was so toxic. And when you're in the middle of that, sometimes it can be really hard to notice when a situation is toxic. So I would find ways to sneak to still talk to him until eventually we ended up breaking up. Through any breakup I have ever been in, this was the one that I was most relieved happened. I didn't have the strength in myself to break up with him. He was the only person I was still talking to from the outside world, from my friend group, from anyone. But when that cord was finally snipped, it was like a breath of fresh air. I could look at the situation like my parents did from the outside and see how unhealthy that was for me. If I had the chance to do that relationship over, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. Not at all. But I think when bad things like that happen to you, you gotta be able to take from that and learn from it so that way it doesn't repeat again. I am so happy to say that that was by far the most toxic relationship I have been in. It really allowed me to learn that I can't let myself be treated that way. So we're gonna move forward to the end of my sophomore year of high school. If you guys don't know, I am out and proud. I'm a proud bisexual, and this was my first time dating a girl who just so happened to be my best friend at the time. And this really is a story time all on its own. I'm gonna skim over it a little bit, but if you guys want to hear the full story, let me know in the comments down below. But basically, this relationship happened during COVID, so we were fully distanced. We weren't allowed to see each other. Once again, history repeated itself in the sense that my parents decided to go through my text messages, and they are not the most supportive of LGBTQ, to say the least. They blew up. They got so pissed off and said that if I were to continue the relationship with this person, that they would end up pulling me from the school and moving me across the country, which was definitely a load of bullshit. But at that time and place, they were already looking for places across the country, so I was terrified. And despite that, we continued our relationship in secret until we ended up calling it quits. But like I said, there's so much more to the story of how I was outed to my parents, how they reacted, and just all the shit that went down. So if you want to hear that, please, please, please let me know. So moving on, my parents were so pissed off. All they wanted was to see me dating a guy. So the second a guy showed interest in me at work, they basically forced me to have a relationship with him, despite the fact that I was 16 and he was in his early 20s. Like, that was just a little detail that they overlooked. Who cares about whether it's legal or not? And that one only lasted for like a month. There were no feelings there whatsoever, and he ended up moving away. The last relationship I'm going to get into today technically wasn't a relationship, it was a situationship. And this guy, we met online. We went through, I think it was Hinge or Bumble. It was one of those. And honestly, it was really good in the beginning. Like, we got along pretty good. But I would say out of all my relationships, this one ended the worst. We ended up going on a little weekend trip to Tahoe, which looking back, I wouldn't have done again. We had only known each other for like 2 months at this point, and I was driving hours away with some guy who I barely knew. But alas, we ended up doing a little bit of drinking that night, and my parents called, and me not learning from my mistakes when it comes to my parents, decided to answer the phone, and they thought I was high. I was not. I was just a little tipsy. But when we went home, my parents were sitting at the kitchen table all stern, and I don't know why I'm laughing. This is so traumatizing. We ended up getting into a screaming match. It was like 11 p.m. at night, and they ended up kicking me out that night. And if you watched my last video with Zach, you would know that I mentioned that my living situation wasn't the best and I needed to find a place, and that is why my parents kicked me out on Halloween, because I had been a little tipsy the night before. And like I said, there's so much more I can go into with that story, but that's not what this video is here for. This is my past relationships, my past mistakes, and yeah, you guys know where it goes from there. I met Zach, and it's been happily ever after ever since. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to upload a little bit more. So for the time being, I think we're gonna do 2 posts a week. I'm thinking Wednesday and Saturdays. So yeah, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you'd never miss when I upload. It would mean so, so much to me. Thank you for watching this whole video to the end, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!